Welcome to the Runna Podcast. I'm Ben, head coach.
And I'm Anya, international marathon runner, and we're proud to be the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide.
We'll be bringing insightful conversation with truly inspirational guests, as well as running tips and tricks for runners of all abilities.
Today on the podcast, we have double Olympic medalist Laviai Nielsen, who won 2 bronze medals in the mixed and women's 4x400 metre relay. She shares her journey with identical twin sister Lina, who also competes on world-class stages. We talk behind the scenes at Paris 2024 and sharing her professional athlete life on social media. Enjoy! Hi Laviai, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on. I guess we'll start at the start of your running journey. Could you tell us how you got into the sport?
I think I got into the sport, I always say if it wasn't for the London 2012 Olympics, I definitely would not be in the sport. And that has loads of different milestones along the way, not just the 2012 Olympics, but where I grew up in East London in a town called Leytonstone, very, very close to the Olympic town of Stratford. And when we won the bid in 2005, our school decided that they wanted to be a sports specialist school and they wanted to inspire the next generation, which was one of the legacies, or probably the legacy of the 2012 Olympics. And so they knocked down a really old building of ours that was basically out of use and built a multi-purpose, multi-sport playground. And that was the first time I saw an athletics track. And I just thought I want to run around for as long as I can. And being a twin, being an identical twin, competitive twin, we just wanted to see how far we could run. So we would spend all of our break time, all of our lunchtime running laps and laps around this athletics track. I mean, it wasn't a full 400 meters. I think it was something like 273 or something. But our teachers kind of noticed after a while that we were spending our lunch break just running and running and running. And our friends would jump in and drop out. The boys would jump in and drop out. We would do this thing where we'd grab the footballs from the boys and run around the track and they couldn't catch us. So then they were like, you're quite talented actually. You seem to not get tired at all. So then they were like, we'll give you information for the local athletics club. You should definitely go down and try it out. So that was the first kind of bite of the cherry with the London 2012 Olympics. So I must have been, about 10 or 11. And then when the Olympics came round in 2012, I volunteered at the Olympic Games, which was the Kickstarter to actually making it a career. Because I think up until that point, it was a passion and fell in love with just running. I didn't really know what the sport was. It was just running. And I felt like I was almost born to run. But then witnessing sport up front, close and personal, live, in the flesh, really made me think that I want to do this.
Wow. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. And I guess when you first started running around the school track, were you running with your sister as keeping each other going, or were you trying to beat your sister?
It was we'll be running and talking of just one more lap. We'll do one more lap. Oh, I reckon I could do 2. Let's do 3 more laps. So we were I just found it, when you fall into that rhythm of running and it just feels like you're in sync with everything, mind, body. That's what I remember, and I just didn't want to stop.
And had you played sport before? Did you play sport with your parents? Are they sporty?
No, we joke around. So no twins in our family, no sportiness in our family. So we joke that we're the anomaly. So no influence with sport. We didn't even watch sport at home. So that's why I didn't really watch athletics, because I didn't really know what the sport was. I just fell into running. It was completely by accident. I'm so happy that that's how it flourished, rather than trying to see something and replicate something that maybe could have been out of reach. I didn't know. It kind of built up very naturally and organically.
And then I guess from then on, you and your sister have also carried on a very similar trajectory. Do you think that that's then because you've had a very similar journey? Do you mean you start with the same genetics, you both get into your running at the same point, and then did you do very, very similar training the whole way through?
Yeah, I would say so. So they got us into cross country immediately. Hated it. I just remember being cold all the time, and I thought, who enjoys this? Or who wants to do this? And then kind of did school competitions. You do the district schools. Eventually that led up to English schools, which I never did. But we both went from cross country to the 1500 to the 800. Lina found we did a 300 actually when you're under 17 in the UK. Which eventually turned into 400 as a young age. I think she was the London Youth Games champion. I must fact check that. So we always loved to do things side by side. Even in school, we got exactly the same grades through primary school, secondary school. And then through to uni, where we started to separate and we found each of our interests. But having someone alongside you, it made it easier. And it obviously, you hold some accountability with each other when you're both going to the athletics club after school and you're both going to district competitions. And it was just nice to have someone to do it alongside with, and it made it feel fun. It was just so much fun.
And was it ever hard if you came second to her?
Yeah.
And have you always been like yo-yoing?
Yeah. So as when we were younger, she was way better than me. So when she was London Youth Games champion, I came fourth. And then I remember in school, like if she won one race, I'd win the next one, and we just went back and forth like that. Yeah.
So it was always that you were so evenly matched over time that then neither one of you was like the better.
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite nice.
Yeah, I remember in our school sports day, our teacher said to us, you can only do one event because it's not fair for everyone else, because we wanted to do like high jump hurdles. So we chose 800 meters. We'd go around telling the whole school, like, we don't know who's going to win this. Place your bets now. Because what we're going to do is we're going to jog the first 700. And then when it gets to the home straight, we're going to sprint finish, because we thought that was the fairest way to decide a winner. And it kind of became like a whole school thing where everyone like would bet who would win that sprint finish. And every year it was, one of us won, the next year the other one won. And that's how we kept it kind of equal and fair.
So I mean, like, it's incredible to think that you two were just head and shoulders above everyone from the day that you kind of got into it. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you put that down to? Do you think that's that you two are just genetically different? Do you think you both have a different mindset, or what is it?
I don't know. I think, honestly, I would just say it was the love for it. It was just the passion. And I remember our teachers would tell us, like, we didn't train until the London 2012 Olympics. I was 17 by the time that finished. That's when I started training for the sport. Through school, I just did the competitions on the weekend, and maybe would show up to the athletics club once every month or so. And everyone would tell us, you're so talented, like, you should train for this. But I didn't really get that. Like, for me, it was just like, how comes I just want to compete? I just want to have fun. Like, I just want to show up when it's fun and when it's enjoyable, and the competition, I thrived off of it. So I think having that like raw passion was what kept us going. I think if I had trained from a young age, I mean, not to say that there's reasons for everything, but maybe I wouldn't be here, because I found that competitiveness and that training much later. So it was honestly between the age of 10 to 16, it was literally just the love of it.
And have you found the feeling that you have towards the sport has changed as you're now performing at the Olympics and like all of these amazing kind of like high pressure points? Has it changed your feeling of running to when you were just running laps of the school playground?
No, I always bring myself back to that young girl. I really do. And there's obviously been times where it's been challenging and you question like why you're doing it and am I really going to get anywhere? And I've always thought back, like the reason why I started this from the age of 10 was because I loved it and the passion for it. And I've always said, like, even when I retire from professional athletics, I will always run. Like, I'll go up to marathons and just run, because there's a 10-year-old girl in me who just found that love of running and that rhythm, and I'll keep doing that for the rest of my life. So whenever I found like tough times, I always take it back to that 10-year-old girl.
I don't think I've spent much time with any sprinters who've said that they want to do a marathon one day.
I was going to say, heard it here first.
And you were telling us before we started recording about the workout you did this morning. So for context, you did an easy session this morning.
Yes.
We'd love you to tell us about it. What did you do? What does an easy session look like for an Olympic sprinter?
I was joking around that it's an endurance session for me as a sprinter, but you'd probably find it a speed session.
Oh yeah.
Sure. It's so we do like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 90 seconds warm up twice. And then we do like a minute on, a minute off, 5 times, and then 5 times 45 seconds on, 45 seconds off. And 60 seconds for me feels like a lifetime. Like my race is over in 50 seconds. So when I'm running for 60 seconds, those extra 10 seconds makes a hell of a difference. So yeah, that was my easy session. I mean, it was hard for me because I don't think I train aerobically often. So when I do, like that for me is a long distance session. Like when I'm running into the Ks, like I'm hitting Ks, it's too long.
Because I guess like we would probably describe that as like a pretty short, like repped speed session.
Fartlek or something. Yeah. No, it's a different world. I was going to ask, London 2012, at that point, did you then think, I want to go to the Olympics? Or is that when you were like, I'm going to start running properly? Did you have a coach at that point or anything?
Not really. Not one that was like sort of assigned to me. It was, I think it was seeing athletes and seeing how they were so focused. So I carried Jessica Ennis's kit. And she was golden girl, and they basically hung that gold medal around her neck before she'd even stepped on the start line. And I remember thinking, how is she not hearing this crowd? The crowd was just incredible. Like, I've never, even to this day, I've competed at the Olympics and I've never experienced a crowd like that. It was so loud, like camera flashes everywhere. They were screaming her name. I remember sort of coming out from underneath the stadium. So you walk out side by side, and I'm walking out alongside Jessica Ennis, and everyone was screaming her name. And it was like she couldn't hear any of it. And I'm thinking, what does it take to get to that point where
that level of focus?
Yeah, like tunnel vision, like you can block out everything. And even just seeing the way that athletes' bodies were shaped, I was thinking, I can't imagine how much training goes into shaping your body like that. Like, it just looked amazing. And so that's when I went home, and I remember like going on YouTube and typing in like Olympic training, and I don't really know what I was looking for, but it really fascinated me and it really drew me in. And then it was kind of a sliding doors moment when I realized what people had been saying to us about, you're really talented, like you should start training, you should dedicate yourself to one event, because we were still kind of dabbling with everything else. So that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to stick to one event. It was the 800 at this point, and I'm going to start training, and I want to see how far I can go. And I never thought it would take me to the Olympics, honestly, but I'm so glad it did.
And what does it take, or how does one become Jessica Ennis's bag carrier?
It was so I was also a big fan of the sport by that point. So they would, as a volunteer, so we did the first 4 days of athletics. I think it was an 8-day program, and they told us, you're doing this morning, you're doing this evening. And I remember seeing like Jessica Ennis's schedule, and we were on at the same evening, and by chance we had her heat of the 200, because I think in the heptathlon there's like 3 or 4 200 meter heats, and I remember seeing her heat, and I quickly went on like the results page and checked which lane she was in. And I like grabbed box number 6 or 7, I can't remember which one it was, because she was in that lane. And I remember when I got the kit and I picked up the box, everyone was like, you're so sneaky, like how did you know that she was going to be in that lane? But I was like, I thought ahead. Yeah. So it was such a magical time. I think I still remember what it was like to stand on that Olympic track. I think there weren't many people who could stand on the Olympic track. It was the athletes, the officials, photographers, and then kit carriers.
So do you think the fact that you put yourself in that position to carry that box, like, is that what means that you live the life that you live now? Or do you think that was just like a coincidental one of thousands of things that stacked together that it wasn't the deciding factor? Or do you think it was?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was one of many, but we were there on Super Saturday. Just that was probably another special one. Like just seeing how much the country got behind those 3 stars on the day. Like it was, I remember the London 2012 Olympics being like a national holiday. And I remember thinking, again, sport wasn't big in our house growing up. So I remember thinking, the power of sport is amazing. Like how can it basically stop the whole country to watch? It's like one evening of sport, and it really brought people together. I remember like the celebrations and like the Union Jacks in the street and the street parties, and it was just, for me, I just thought, I want to be a part of this, and I don't care what capacity, I just want to be a part of this.
Having like described that, and even having felt it when you were cheering on, how does it make you feel to think that like you then went on to go and get a medal at the Olympics? Like what everyone will have been doing, screaming at their tellies back home, does that like, do you even realize what it means to have achieved that yourself now?
Now I do, like a few months down from the Olympics. I think at the time it feels like such a bubble. But it was, I remember like coming back on the Eurostar, and it was like the minute the Eurostar doors opened and we were met with like the press, and the Mayor of London was on the platform at King's Cross, it was like someone just burst that bubble. And I remember thinking, I wonder how many people actually watched that night a couple of nights ago. Everybody. And how many like girls were inspired by what we did in the relay. And it was just even now, like we get recognized a lot more often, and it does make me kind of pinch myself. It's really special.
Yeah, well, you deserve that. When did you change from 800 to 400? Was that just for the Olympic cycle, or had you been preparing for the Olympics?
So after the London 2012 Olympics, I don't know why I thought I'd fall into the 800 category, because I wasn't very good at it at all. But I remember I did a competition. So I did a year after that, a year of training, and I wasn't any better. And I remember thinking, why do people do this? Like, why do they train? It's a big waste of time. Like I remember I was getting slower. And I showed it to a competition, and my coach at the time was like, I know you're not enjoying the 800, because I was almost like dragging my feet to the start line. And he was like, I know you're not enjoying the 800. Why don't you try something else today? And I was like, okay, maybe I'll try the 400. Like, let's just give it a go, because it, to me, felt like the nearest thing from the 800. And I remember like showing up to the start line and all these women were so toned and so built, and I was a skinny little child. And they were like setting up starting blocks. I was thinking, oh, what do I do here?
What have I done?
I'm pretty sure I showed up to the start line with like same arm, same leg action. And it was like a really intense competition. It was like, I don't know if you've heard of the Women Athletics League in the UK. So it's very, very good. And I finished third in that race, and it was so thrilling. Like I remember the home straight burned. Like I remember, what is this pain? But it was so thrilling, and like to finish third in that race kind of gave me that first bite of the cherry of like, this is what success could feel like. And after that, I went back to my training club on Monday and I said, I'm gonna start the 400. I'm gonna run for the 400. And doing that training as opposed to the 800 meter training, which is a lot more endurance-y, like doing that sprint training, which I've never done before, was a whole new challenge, and almost like I just turned a whole new leaf in the sport, and fell in love with that training, like fell in love with the challenge of the 400, and yeah, didn't turn back since. So that was 2013, and then 2014 I made my first international competition, which was the World Junior Championships. We got silver in that 4x4, and then the year after I was the European Junior Champion, and that's when I knew like, this is my event. Yeah.
And was it the case that when you made that shift from 800 to 400, was that when you and your sister started going down different paths, or did she make the shift with you?
We made the shift together. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There was a time actually I was kind of training on my own, just because she's had some difficulty. I'm sure listeners will be aware of her MS. So I remember her kind of coming a bit later on, but it made sense for both of us to go down to 400. And then she was actually in the European Junior 4x4 team, where we both won gold, and we joked that we made up half that relay. The Nielsen family made up half that relay. So that, yeah, we kind of, I remember at that age kind of making decisions together. Like I remember at the 2012 Olympics, it was like, we should both start training for this, and we should both go down to the 400, and we'll both go to the European Junior Championships. So yeah, and then she found the hurdles, I think, a few years down the line.
How much did you both rely on each other for support for Paris this year? Like, I think that I'd love to have like my brother there for that, like to experience that alongside him. How was that?
It was surreal. I remember there were times when we kind of like looked at each other like, is this real? Like, are we both here? Like, you know, I think when you're training for the Olympics and you're so focused on that goal, you can kind of ignore the idea that it is a hard thing to do. And so like both of us were going for that goal of like, we want to qualify, me for the 400, her for the 4 hurdles. And we were so focused on that we actually forgot how hard it is to do that. So when we were both there, we were kind of like, how have we both done this? Like, it's amazing. But I was actually at the Tokyo Olympics without her. That felt weird. Like, again, because we'd made all those decisions together, it felt weird to be at the Olympics without her. But I kind of took on as much as I could at those Olympics, even though comparing the two very different games. But I remember like telling her before we got to Paris, I was like, it's not like any other championships. Like, you've got to be prepared for this. There's so many other layers. And so by the time she got there, she was like, thank you for preparing me for this, because I don't think I would have been able to handle it had you not prepared me for how big the games are and the magnitude of it all.
That's so nice that you're able to almost give her a bit of a forewarning, having been there, or been an experience of different games, but been through the process once before. In terms of like your day-to-day routine, like to what extent do you guys work together? Like, do you eat together? Do you like live on the same street? Like, how does your lives look, and how much are you supporting each other like week by week?
Yeah, so we train together. There were years when we didn't train together. So I think in the middle of our careers, as she went over to the hurdles, she was working with a hurdles coach and I was working with a sprints coach. We started training together only a couple of years ago. And that's when we realized we work so much better together. And we always, like on our Instagram, you'll see it often, we hashtag better together. And I think that runs for so many different things in life. And I think a lot of people can find inspiration in that. But we always say like, we're better together. Not saying that we're always running side by side, but even if, let's say one of us shows up to the track a little bit tired, a little bit heavy loaded, but the other one's feeling great, it's kind of like, hey, you take this session, like I'll be right behind you. Or if she's really tired, I'll be like, I'm going to take this rep, make sure you're right behind me. Like that's where and I think it's a healthy competitiveness. Like that's where it kind of comes in, because if I'm ever like way behind her, I'm thinking we're exactly the same. We're identical twins. Like we should be side by side. And so it pushes us to really train at our best. And that's why we say we're better together. And that's why I always like when people ask for advice about running, I'm always like, try and find someone to do it with, because it does take the load off of you and holds you accountable for showing up day to day. It's a bit different now. Like we actually live separately, but for the the year leading up to Olympics, we were eating the same food, like cooking together, preparing our meals together, training, recovering, all of that together. So yeah, she's definitely helped me a lot in my career.
Does it ever make it then that much harder if there's a day where one of you's busy or an injury or something else gets in the way, like where you have to then show up on your own? Or that almost then feels like this nice fresh surprise that you're not used to running on your own and it's easier? Or how do you find being so dependent on one another?
It's weird because obviously when you show up to start line, it is just you. So I guess I'm used to that. Like there are times when I'm training and I'm just thinking, when I'm on the start line, it is just me. Like you do get used to kind of training on your own. But sometimes if I like this morning session I did on my own, I was thinking if she was beside me, could I push myself a little bit more? So yeah, it's weird being without her, but yeah, I'm lucky for those days that we do have together.
And presumably there's also like you mentioned, coming back from the Olympics and doing the surreal bubble bursting, presumably also going through this like crazy roller coaster as now being recognized on the streets, being able to like share that with your sister must make maybe it easier to wrap your head around as well.
For sure. And I always say, like, if I'm so glad we won that medal together, because if I had come back and it was just me, it would have been awful. I don't think I could actually comprehend what that would have been like. And standing on the podium together, so they line us up in order. So I think I was second in line, so I got my medal first. And when I watched the guy put the medal around Lina, I thought, this is so surreal. Like, I'm so glad that we're both having this moment. And it was, so special.
It's crazy. Were you more nervous? Are you more nervous, watching Lina race?
Yeah.
Than doing it yourself?
Yeah, for sure.
It's
I guess when you're racing, like you're in control and you're not thinking about what anyone else is doing at that moment. Like it does just, when you're on the start line, it does just feel like it's you alone. Like the rest of the world is not happening. But she said, so she ran the heats of the relay the day before and I came in for the final. Mm-hmm. She was saying she was so nervous watching that final because obviously like their medals are on the line as well, because everyone gets a medal at the end. And she was like, that's the most nervous I've ever been in my life. Like even for her racing at the Olympics, like watching me do the final at the Olympics was way harder than doing it herself.
And were your parents in the crowd?
No. we joke that because again, no one in our family is sporty and they are very supportive of our careers, but sport to them is not huge. It's not like it's not like a phenomenon for them, which I actually am quite appreciative of. It keeps you humble, first and foremost, keeps you grounded. And secondly, I think it doesn't add more pressure to what we do. Like everything that we do, I feel we do for ourselves rather than any external pressure. So mum was watching at home. She was looking after the dog that we share. We joke that we are each other's family, but that felt so nice to know that she was in the crowd watching.
And so your parents aren't sporty. Have you ever been on a run with either of them?
I tried to drag my mum out for a run once. She lasted about 15 seconds. No.
So it really is not necessarily like, I find it so fascinating thinking about kind of like nature v nurture. Mm-hmm. And like, are you two genetically blessed and that's why you're where you are now? Or is it the environment that you've had leading up to June, a moment in time that's put you on the trajectory to where you've gotten?
I think it's a bit of both. I think genetically, so my mum's from Sudan and my dad's Danish. And so we joke that we kind of have like the East North African genes of the long distance runners and like the Viking strength of the Danish. So I think maybe like we do joke that we are an anomaly. So maybe like the combination of those contributed to that. And also
maybe like the nurture whereby you've got these parents that are like not putting pressure on you to do sport, but then you've actually had the where you live, your school, the Olympics all at the right time, and that's given you the right environmental factors that you needed to complement doing the right kind of genetics as well.
Precisely, that's what I think it is. And I also think growing up as a twin, and I think, I don't know where I read this, but I think a lot of the most successful athletes in the world are siblings. Like it's very rare actually to find like an only child that's successful, because I think you just grow up competitive. And so like growing up with a identical twin where we did have that healthy competition definitely nurtured that like competitive side of us. So yeah, I think it's a bit of both. And yeah, all those moments in between with the London 2012 Olympics.
You say what you do is only because you love it. You two actually do so much more than just your like pro athlete life as well. Like you share everything on social media, on your YouTube. You're like cooks. You're basically businesswomen. And models. How do you manage all of that and balance all of that?
We have a lot of energy. I will say that. I say leading up to the Tokyo Olympics, I kind of put all my eggs in one basket and solely focus on qualifying for these Olympic Games. And I tell like my friends now, like that was probably the worst decision that I could have made, because that's not me. Like even when I started professional athletics, I was still going to university. Like even though I signed a professional contract, I was like, I'm definitely still going to university. I love school and I love education. And so I made sure that I completed my degree alongside kind of growing in the sport. I think I won a world 4x4 medal in my last year at university. So I was definitely doing things side by side. And then when you fall into professional sport, you're kind of expected to do that alone. And now you've got more time for recovery, and you've got more time for nutrition, and you more time to focus on the sport. And so I kind of went down that route of trying to do just that. That's not me. Like, you know, I love little side projects. I love exploring like my different interests and stuff. So after Tokyo, I remember I didn't qualify for the 400. I only ran once in the relay, and I came back home and I was like, okay, what now? Like, this is my life. Like I kind of put all my eggs into one basket. And so I thought, I can't do this again going into Paris. I can't just train solely as an athlete. So after Tokyo, that's when we started our cooking page, Nielsen's Kitchen, because we were always cooking and putting it on Instagram, and people were so interested in the recipes and how you fuel as an athlete. And so we started Nielsen's Kitchen, and then leading into the 2023 World Championships, we started our YouTube channel of documenting our training and the journey to Budapest, and then after that to Paris. And that is honestly, I think, one of the best things we could have done, that Road to Paris series. It was so nice to take people along with us on the journey. And even like when we won the bronze medal in the 4x4, there were so many comments saying like, I feel like I watched you train for this. I feel like I watched you prepare for this. So to see it kind of all wrapped up and tied up with the medal was just so nice for our viewers to watch. And I think even reading comments of people saying, I wasn't motivated to go for a run now, but watching a YouTube video, I am. It's just so nice to be able to be that source of inspiration for so many. And we didn't really know where that YouTube channel would go. And now it's just kind of like we want to keep growing it and keep sharing content and keep showing what it's like, you know, even the ups and downs.
Because so many pros like don't share what they do, because obviously it's top secret and you don't want your competitors knowing. But no, I do think it's fantastic that you do share it. And there's loads of talk at the moment, I don't know if you've seen it all on social media, about like influencers in the running sphere taking the money from the pros kind of thing, which is obviously quite a like controversial topic or whatever, but like you basically are proving you can do it all.
yeah And also I do get the kind of like the top secret side of training. There's a lot we don't share, like out of respect for our coach, we don't share all of our sessions because he works hard on that program. But I think it's more showing that it could be fun, and it's not just, you know, we don't just go to training and it's all like tunnel vision, you know, like for us, it's like we need to have fun alongside it, because we train for so many hours and so many weeks in the year. You can't just be on it all the time. And I think it was nice to show that a lot of athletes do have fun with it and kind of take it in their stride, and they're just themselves in professional sport. And I think those are the athletes that flourish. And I've definitely seen that like training around the world, like the best athletes are the ones who are themselves. They're trying not to be someone else. So that's what, I think it was nice to show that.
And do you find also having like a number of different outlets means almost it takes the pressure off that one split? Or do you mean how the workout or your performance is going? Because you know you've got these other outlets, which then almost lets you enjoy the running itself a bit more and then probably perform better.
I kind of classify them as like two different things. So I think it's quite nice to have a switch off, whether it's a hobby or like for me, it started off as cooking. So that was the switch off. And then we thought, okay, we'll create a cooking page. I think, it does kind of take the pressure off when you're done training. Let's say you didn't have a training session that went that well. You can go home and be like, okay, I'll focus on editing. I'll focus on this piece of content rather than going over and over and over again in your head what that session was like. So I think there's definitely a mental health benefit to kind of splitting up your life in that way.
And so the two of you are very well matched as athletes. Who's the better cook?
I'm going to say she is, actually. Yeah, she is. I don't know why. I think she's definitely quite she's firm and she's very like direct. So sometimes she'll be like, I'm cooking tonight. I'll be the one cooking dinner today. So I would say we're both very good, but I'll give it to her for that.
How has it been coming off the back of the Olympics then? And are you planning an indoor season?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to say what's coming up and how you found all of that?
Yeah, I don't gatekeep. So it was quite weird actually after the Olympics. I'll be honest, I found it really hard to start training again. And I think it was just such a pinnacle of the sport. And this year, 2024, was just such a dream year for me. Like I achieved so much that for years I didn't think I could go there. So breaking 50 in the 400 was just huge for me. That was such a huge moment. Something I knew I could do for years. I just never quite got to it. And then I always wanted an Olympic medal and I came back with 2. And then I thought, what next? Like, what am I going to do now? So I found it really hard. I almost, in a way, like didn't feel hungry. Like I didn't feel that like inner, I think anyone who's experienced a setback that drives them forward, like that's a very strong, powerful force. And I didn't feel that. But speaking to my team and got such incredible people around me, they were like, okay, you're here now. You've arrived here. Where are you going to go from here? Rather than thinking I'm going to turn this around, like I'm going to be so much different to who I was last year. It's kind of like I'm at this stage and I want to keep on going up. So I kind of like reframe my mindset now. It's a lot more, I would say it's a lot more logical rather than emotional. Like I think in previous years it was a very like emotional drive, and now it feels like a logical drive. Like I want to run under 50 consistently rather than just the once. And I really want an individual medal. I think that's my next goal. So I've accumulated, very lucky to have accumulated so many relay medals, Olympic, World, European.
It's not luck. It's hard work.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you. And haven't got an individual one since that junior one. So I'm going to try and do as many competitions as I can actually over the next 4 years, leading into what will be my last Olympic Games. So whether it's Europeans, Worlds, I want an individual medal, and that's my next drive and my next goal. And then that'll be everything ticked off in my career.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Well, huge good luck, and we can't wait to follow along with the journey. We're going to segue off to Steph, who's going to come in with our coaching tip of the week.
Today's tip is on tempo sessions, one of our harder run sessions in the week. Tempo sessions involve running at a more sustainable pace, but for a longer period of time. And these are great at training us to be able to run faster for longer. These sessions often feel quite daunting, but they are great for helping us to prepare mentally for the challenges of race day.
Thank you so much for that, Steph. I'm going to bring us back with a myth from one of our lovely runners. To be a high-performing athlete, you should always eat healthy food. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you want to go first, or shall I?
You go first.
I think with anything, it's about long-term consistency. So I would go to say that they should look to eat well, as consistently as possible, as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But despite I'm not at the same level of sport as you, I would imagine that we can all have some time where we get to enjoy food that's fun, but we probably shouldn't be eating junk all the time, or we're never going to succeed. Mm-hmm. And so with that in mind, I love eating my ice cream, and I still get to do Ironmans every year. But I make sure I eat a good, healthy, balanced diet the majority of the time. And I think it's that kind of good majority means that you can have fun for the remaining minority.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Definitely with the consistency and a balanced diet. I would disagree with that statement that you have to eat healthy all the time. I'll tell a couple of stories as to how I got to this thought process. So I remember the first time, so after London 2012 Olympics, one of the things I searched on YouTube was, what do athletes eat? And it's from creators who are not athletes and probably not nutritionists, and saying things like, you should be eating lean meats and brown rice and quinoa, like the most boring foods. I think when you're an athlete and you're training so much during the day, it's all about calories. And I actually did a TikTok about this recently that went viral. It was because I'd spoken to some of the rowers from the 2024 Olympics. So in 2021, a lot of the rowers finished like 4th, 5th, 6th. And it really drove them on to make sure that in Paris, they didn't keep finishing outside of the podium. And they were just relentless in their pursuit for making sure that they win medals. I think there was like something like 36 rowers in Team GB. No, 41 rowers, 36 walked away with medals. And so it just goes to show like how much effort they put into this. But they said one of the things they looked to was nutrition. And they upped their calorie intake rather than just trying to eat as clean as possible. They just thought we need to eat as many calories as we possibly can. Like, I think they burn so many calories in a day. Some of the heavyweight rowers can eat up to 6,000 calories a day, which if you try to do just eating vegetables and meat, you're not going to achieve it. So to them, they said the only unhealthy diet is the one where you don't eat enough. And I've taken that on like completely now in my training. Like, that's something that I want to improve as well, is my nutrition, and just make sure that I fuel and recover well. And when you look at your energy expenditure, it's not just fuel train, it's what your body does to recover. I think your body uses up like 1,800 calories just for breathing, like breathing throughout the day. So when you're training a lot, and it doesn't matter if you're a professional athlete or you're recreationally training, your body takes a lot more to recover. Like, you're using up a lot of calories during sleep, which is when your body recovers the most. So I always say, have a balanced diet. I don't believe in constriction. So I don't believe in like, cut this out, cut that out, cut dairy. Everyone always asks us like, do we eat? I don't know. I don't understand people's obsession with dairy, like cutting out dairy. I think it's so good for you. But I say, don't cut things out. If you want to reduce, by all means, go and do so. But I always say, like, enjoy your food, especially because it is a means of living. So just make sure that you enjoy your food. Like, don't try and cut things down to match your perfect picture of what a healthy diet looks like. So a healthy diet could mean so many different things for so many different people. So just make sure that you enjoy your food.
What was the food like at the Olympic Village?
Horrible. Absolutely dreadful. Like, every time I show pictures of the food, that people are horrified and they're traumatized and like, how are you feeling, elite athletes, this kind of food? So I lost weight during the Olympics, which, I mean, it's not a good thing. I think maybe if you're in an endurance sport where you need to be light, it could come across as a positive, but I'm in a power dominated sport event in the 400. So to lose weight like during like 2-3 weeks Olympics was just not ideal. And it was because the food was dreadful.
And you have no cooking facilities?
No, we had Team GB were very, very helpful actually. Like, they were amazing with, they had a Team GB house where they had chefs come in and cook food. The only issue with that was it was about 45 minutes away from the village. Getting out of the Olympic Village is like getting to Fort Knox. It is absolutely impossible. Like, it's high security, like really, really high security. And I was competing 5 times over 9 days, and it was just no way that I could come in and out of the village like that. So I had to eat what I could find, and it was, I wouldn't give that to my dog.
It's kind of amazing because like, even like when we're advising people to go and do what they should eat in the week tapering up for a marathon, like, we'll often recommend people bring their breakfast with them to go and have the morning before a race, so they're not eating some weird foreign food that they're not used to, and it's not going to sit well with their tummy. But it's kind of then remarkable that yourself at the highest level of sports having to eat, and someone who spends so much time thinking about what you eat and looking after your cooking, to then go and have to eat unknown food for 2 or 3 weeks in the run up to the biggest competition of your life.
Yeah, and I sympathise with them because it's 10,000 athletes that they're cooking and preparing food for. But I think they just had the wrong idea of what athletes eat. And I think, again, this is like the misinformation, like the cloud of information online. It's not just chicken, rice and broccoli. Like, we have such an array of foods. And it's such a shame because the Tokyo Olympic Village was amazing. Like, they had such an array of a wide range of food from all around the world, and Paris didn't.
But I guess also when you think about like Team GB trying to do the best they can to go and get as many medals, we probably shouldn't put this on a podcast and whisper this to you, and then you can tell the bosses. But like, the rowers that you referred to, they spent so much time thinking about their nutrition and it paid off in the results.
Yeah.
Should, for the next Olympic cycle, Team GB go and get like loads of chefs right outside the Olympic Village and make sure that you guys are all better fueled than everyone else at the Olympics?
Yeah, I think they tried to help as much as they could, and they were even like bringing takeaway boxes from the performance lodge to like make sure that we fueled well. But again, there's like 370 plus athletes, and I mean, they're trying to look after staff as well. And they did a great job, and I think they did as best as they could. And maybe the IOC should allow different teams to bring in their own sort of kitchens, because the Olympic Village is quite limited. It's very sort of, this is where you stay and this is where you eat and this is where you take the transport to the venues. So it was, I think Team GB were incredible, but the IOC, we need to have a word.
I'm going to ask one more Olympic question. Was there a secret after party with all the athletes? Like, did you all celebrate together, or was there anything like that?
Definitely. One thing athletes know how to do after an event is party. There were quite a few. I think Noah Lyles had probably the biggest party, which we couldn't get into at all. Like, everyone caught wind of his party, so we couldn't get in. But I think at that point, like, I was so tired. I couldn't imagine being on my feet for any longer. Like, we went to one after party and it got to like think 2 a.m. and I was like, guys, I need to call it a night. Like, I'm absolutely exhausted. And then we had media the next day for the relay celebration. So, but yeah, there's loads. There's not just one. There's like everyone hosts their own party. In Tokyo, actually, Team GB was solely responsible for the after party at the Olympic Village, because obviously with COVID, we couldn't go out of the village. Once you left the village, your QR code couldn't get you back in. So we had to have the party in the village, and it was Team GB house. Staff were not happy the next day. There was a good party.
So funny. A Team GB house party.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like, because the apartments are like, I think in Tokyo they were like 10 floors high, and the party ran from the ground to the 10th floor. It was insane.
Wow.
I want to go.
Well, we're going to move on to some slightly sillier questions. So we're going to do a bit of this or that, and you're going to pick which of these two options you'd prefer. So the first one, you have to wrap your head around it. Would you rather? Well, first of all, there's not many.
I'm
people.
Scared. I don't do well under pressure.
No. These are all silly, and there's no wrong answers.
Okay.
So there probably aren't many people who can race at the level you do with an identical twin.
Oh God, here we go.
Would you rather miss your alarm, your sister turns up for you, wins the race, and then you have to go and claim the prize, or she misses her alarm, you race for her, win, and then she claims your prize?
Oh, I think the latter. I do the race and she claims the prize. Again, we were just talking just now off the record that when we both won the medal in Paris, when they put the medal around me, I was completely fine, stable, no emotions. But seeing her with the medal around her neck absolutely brought me to tears. And so I love celebrating her glory more than mine. So I'll go for the second one.
That's so nice.
That was lovely. Would you rather do a park run, 3-legged with Lina, or do a half marathon, but you have to jump over a hurdle every kilometre? So 21 hurdles in a half marathon,
Oh wow.
or a 3-legged 5K.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. So I'm not a hurdler
Or a half marathon runner.
or a half marathon runner.
What's the longest run that you've ran in the last year?
10K.
Okay.
My coach was not happy with that because he's like, it's too long, like it's way too long. But I love running. So I'll come back to this question, I promise. But after sprinting all year, I actually crave like running slow. So I do that thing where like, you know, when they say go for a run, don't take your watch, like don't take your music, just go feel. So I did 10K just like super slow, but loved like that feeling of almost like a moving meditation. I would go for the half marathon with the hurdles.
I think you want to do longer distance.
I really do. I really want to run a marathon. But I think with the 3-legged race, I feel like we are quite in sync. But I feel like we'll just be too competitive and like we'll try and push that pace a bit too hard. So slow half marathon. How high are the hurdles?
Olympic hurdle height.
Yeah, I'll do that. Easy.
Nice.
I don't know if my legs will come off the ground at like.
I feel like you also, if you did the 5K, the park run, you might actually win.
A 5K?
Well, I think if you guys did park run together, you're so in sync.
Oh,
You said you'd be a bit competitive, but I actually think it could work quite well.
Okay, I'll change my answer then. Park run.
What, because you like winning?
Yeah. I'll
What
finish
should you
last.
rather do, Ben? If you had to do a 3-leg race with me?
With you?
Yeah.
Well, we're quite different heights. But I also cannot jump over anything. So I think I'd have to do the 3-legged park run because I can't jump over anything. If I'm like on a wall and have to like jump off it, like scared I'll like break my knees.
So no steeplechase for you.
No, I'm not a nimble man. What about you, Anya?
You know that when you probably do it in your drills, and I see them on YouTube, like all the gorgeous sprinter girls doing their like dances over the hurdles in time to music, and they just look so cool. Never in a million years could I do that. I'm so stiff.
I reckon you could. I
actually don't think I could get my leg over. But
Right, so you're a 3-legged park runner. Okay. Yeah. Right, so this next one, Anya's had to inform me about the Olympic muffin. I wasn't so aware of the Olympic muffin. But would you rather, for the rest of your life, the only sweet treat you can enjoy is the Olympic muffin, or for the rest of your life, you always sleep on the Olympic cardboard beds?
Oh no!
So I think first of all, you need to tell us about the Olympic muffin.
Well, I guess you could say more. Did you have an Olympic muffin when you were there?
Yeah.
What is an Olympic muffin?
I'm so confused as to why this went viral. I'm actually like, it's beyond me. Maybe because the food was so bad in the food hall that the chocolate muffin was probably the only good thing in there. It was very, very, very chocolatey. So if you love chocolate, then maybe you'd like it. There was nothing special to it. It was just a chocolate muffin.
So it's just a chocolate muffin that went viral.
It was one of the athletes was like obsessed with it.
Yeah, I think it was a Norwegian swimmer, and he was like grabbing loads of them, and so everyone went around the food halls trying to eat this chocolate muffin. And so maybe because it was just hyped up so much, when I took my first bite, I was like, "This is awful."
Was there like a black market of them, like people smuggling them out and then getting them to ordinary humans?
Yeah. And the news outlets like caught wind of it as well. So like they were like, when you come to do your media, can you bring a chocolate muffin as well?
No.
Yeah, like they wanted to try it.
And then I guess the other side is these cardboard Olympic beds. Is that also true?
That's true.
So
yeah.
the Olympic beds are made of cardboard.
They're made of cardboard, and the mattresses are made of recycled fishnets.
Are they uncomfortable?
Very uncomfortable.
Are you not staying in like hotels?
No.
Okay, so you're in a building that then they've had to fit beds to you.
Yeah. So the idea behind it was to make it sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
They are very, very sturdy. I would say like the minute we got into the Olympic Village, so they had them in Tokyo as well. We were like jumping up and down these beds, like trying to break them. They are very sturdy and they don't break. The mattresses, if you like a firm mattress, you might like the fishnets, but you do feel like the bumpiness of it. I can't believe that's so
bizarre.
Any of you guys like on this? I don't think you should.
But it also goes to like the 1%, which is that like eat as well as you can, sleep as well as you can. How is it the optimal 1% to be like on a cardboard bed made of fishnets?
I know the first night I slept in, I thought my back's aged 10 years. I have a really funny story because it was really hot in Paris, and I don't know if you read the stories of like athletes being super hot during the night, like they couldn't sleep.
Someone slept outside or something.
Yeah. Even if you opened your, we had like balconies, you just bitten by mosquitoes because it was just so hot in Paris. So Team GB actually, luckily enough, supplied us with air conditioning units. But there was this one athlete who the air conditioning unit was leaking. So he woke up in the middle of the night and his cardboard bed had dissipated.
It got
wet.
soggy.
Yeah, it got wet at the bottom.
Oh no.
So they were sturdy until water touched them. It was funny.
I just can't imagine Noah Lyles sleeping on a little cardboard bed.
No, I think most of the top athletes, like LeBron James is there, Simone Biles, I think they slept in hotels. You did have the choice to not be in the village. Mm-hmm. It just made things a little bit harder, like in terms of transport and security. I would have to go for I can't eat chocolate muffins for the rest of my life. I'd sleep on the floor than eat those chocolate muffins.
But you're not sleeping on the floor, you're sleeping in a cardboard bed.
Sleep in a cardboard bed with fishnets.
Wow.
But we also got supplied mattress toppers by Dreams, who was Team GB sponsor. So we were lucky.
Oh, that's a good sponsor.
We were very lucky, but it's still uncomfortable. But if you like, I love a soft mattress, so I sleep on a bed of clouds at home. But if you like a firm mattress, you might have found it okay. Well, they weren't very tall. They weren't very long. So if you're tall, I can imagine it wouldn't have been very comfortable.
Well, you've only got the rest of your life to look forward to on a cardboard bed now.
That's so true. Edith McColgan lying on that bed.
She must have had her feet. Yeah. The end.
Well, Anya, do you want to come in with our final question?
Okay. You're designing your dream race. What is the event? Where is it? What food and drink is at the finish line? And who is presenting you with the medal?
Okay. So I'm designing my dream race.
So
how far is it?
What is the event?
Okay, it's the 300 meters. Because that's not an Olympic event. It's not a very commonly run event, but it's the perfect distance between like 2 and 4. The endurance, like the stamina of the 400 and the speed of the 200, I think will come together really nicely in the 300. It's in the London Stadium for sure. That's where so many amazing things for me have happened. So London 2012 Olympics, London 2017 World Champs, where I won my first world medal. Broke 51 there for the first time, broke 50 there for the first time. So it's a very special stadium for me.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'd run super fast there. And who's presenting the medal?
And what food and drinks at the finish line?
Chocolate muffin. Food and drink. Food. I'm going to say this because it's like literally on top of my head because I went last night, but my favourite restaurant in London do these amazing fish sauce chicken wings. Whenever I tell people this, they're like, fish and chicken. It works perfectly. Like those flavours are just amazing.
And you want that immediately after a race?
immediately after 300.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much lactic as the 400. But I remember eating them yesterday. I said to my sister, I said, this is my death row meal. So that's the first thing that's come to my head. Drink. Oh, this is hard. It's so hard to choose just one. As you know, I love food and drink. So maybe, I don't know, maybe like an iced coffee or something like that. Coffee is my favourite. And then who's presenting me the medal? Jessica Ennis. Full circle moment. Yeah.
And can anyone enter? Is it a mass participation? Is it only the best in the world? Who's racing?
Just me and Lina. And we'll sprint the last 100.
That would be so cool.
We'll play bets.
Well, that is absolutely amazing. It's been fantastic to get to know your journey, and we cannot wait to see where you go next.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I think it's been nice. I'll just say this as well, the closing line. I don't know if maybe it's just towards the latter end of my career, but I've really enjoyed witnessing like the rise of running, especially here in London, especially after lockdown. And most of my favourite running influencers use Runna. So it's absolutely amazing to see like people fall in love with running and use Runna and fall in love with like setting goals and achieving them. So thank you for having me on. It's just so amazing to be part of this amazing community that you've set up. So.
Thank you so much. And hopefully we can all together inspire more people to run and live a happy life that we all get to live at the moment.
Yeah.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Runna. If you want to train for any goal, download the app today. And don't forget, you can use the code Runna Podcast for a 2-week free trial.
Whether you enjoyed the episode or not, please like, share, follow, subscribe, do all of that nonsense, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Wow, you made it all the way to the end of the podcast. And so for all of our loyal listeners, we have a special 15% off all of our Runna merchandise. If you want to look as cool as Anya, then go and use the code MyFastSocks for 15% off all of our Runna merchandise. And thank you again for listening.